Hello, I'm Janet.
And I'm Mindy.
And we are two girls and a bottle of wine.
Because men like boobs.
And girls like wine. I make all my guests say the boobs part.
I figured you did.
Because I'm shy. I'm actually getting much better.
No way.
I am. Welcome, Mindy Long. Do you have a nickname you want to go by? We have T Squared. We have the Vodka Stiletto Princess.
Oh, some friends call me Min Min.
Min Min. M-I-N, M-I-N?
Mm-hmm.
That's easy.
So, it's up to you.
Min Min.
Mindo.
Mindo. I like Min Min. Well, welcome, Min Min. This is your first time on Two Girls and a Bottle of Wine.
Yes, it is.
And this is your first time on a podcast.
Yes.
But you've been listening to our podcasts.
I have.
When I say our, Two Girls and a Bottle of Wine and Wrinkled Sheets. Mm-hmm. Have you listened to Remasculate Steve's solo?
I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, it's definitely geared toward men. Remasculate.
I really need to get my husband to listen to it then. Because he would like that.
But Steve's not into sports.
He doesn't care.
Okay. All right. So my big obsession these days is fall television shows. I am completely obsessed with A to Z. Have you watched that?
Mm-mm.
So I've been talking about it on the podcast the last few weeks, and it's adorable. But what are you watching on television?
Football. And then I'm also into...
Do you like football?
I like I was telling my child last night, I like football. I'm not as obsessive as my husband appears to be. I don't know stats.
That's fine.
I'm lucky to know who Peyton Manning is and many of the major players on that.
I know who Peyton Manning is.
There you go.
I know who Romo is.
Okay. You know, anybody else?
Troy Aikman.
Okay. John Elway?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
there you go.
Yeah.
So I'm not as into it as he is, but in order to have things to do with him, I watch it.
That's how I was with my ex. Like, I had the pink Broncos jersey with the pink tennis shoes, and I would go to all the football parties and drink lots of beer, and it was not healthy.
Yeah, but that would be more fun than just watching football.
Right. Well, you have to have alcohol when football's involved.
Not in my house.
Okay.
My husband doesn't drink.
Oh, okay.
So that's the way that...
So
this is me drinking.
Cheers. That's why you're here on Two Girls and a Bottle of Wine. Forget the man cave. We have the woman cave down here.
That works. That's a good thing.
So what are you watching on outside of football on television?
I do a lot of sci-fi stuff, like Doctor Who.
Okay, I've seen this Doctor Who stuff everywhere, and I kind of feel like an idiot because I don't know anything about Doctor Who. I know that one of my new TV shows called Selfie stars a girl from Doctor Who.
Yes, she played Amy. I can't think of the actress's name, but she was really good. She was on there for several seasons.
She's adorable.
She is. She's been in a couple of movies recently, too.
And I bet there are other people that like Doctor Who. Tell us about... educate me, Mindy. Min.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
Doctor Who's been around since the 60-something. I want to say 63. It's been 50 years plus.
Every season there's a new Doctor Who for 50 years? Okay.
No. They've taken breaks. The original guy, he actually got sick, and they, in order to phase him out without, upsetting everybody, because it actually started off as an educational show. Mm-hmm.
About?
History.
Okay.
But they kind of twisted the history, ended up twisting it just a little bit to make the storylines fit. And so to phase him out, it started in 63. It originally aired. Don't ask me the actor's name. I can't remember. But so after he phased out, then they started another. They had doctors. He transformed into a new doctor. And when they rebooted the system, rebooted the series. And
I was like, what?
Yeah, sorry. 2012 or 2005 is when they rebooted it with the 9th Doctor.
Okay.
When I got interested it's actually in reruns on PBS with the I think the 5th Doctor, and no, it was the 4th Doctor. Anyway, and so I started watching that in the 80s, but he was reruns on PBS.
And how many Doctors have they gone through? We're
on the 12th.
Oh. Do they make it pretty? Is it like a soap opera where they transition it pretty easily?
They try to, yeah. I mean, it depends on the doctors and who's writing and stuff as to whether it's a good transition or not.
Do they act as though the old doctor left, or do they act as though it's the same person?
It's the same person. It's just he has a different face,
okay,
different personality, good or bad,
Do they fight? Does he fight evil? Like, what does he do?
He technically fights evil, but sometimes you wonder who he's really fighting, whether he's fighting his own emotional self. Because supposedly he annihilated his whole family, his whole world.
Wow.
According to the series.
That's insane.
But then they changed it recently, and now maybe he really didn't, but we don't know.
And that's what keeps you guessing and keeps watching.
Mm-hmm.
And you're into the Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah.
What's that?
Well,
comic books.
Comic books. You've heard of Iron Man, Thor.
Yes, Thor. Thor
yes,
is
Thor.
hot.
So this is a spinoff from the movies. One of the guys, Phil, what's Phil's last name? Phil Coulson. He was in all the Iron Man movies and the Thor movies, and he actually died in the Thor movie.
Okay.
He was also in Avengers, and I could have it reversed as to which movie he died in.
Okay.
But he actually was brought back to life, and that's when they started the TV series. And now it's
in 2013.
Yeah. And so they're going through the steps of they've been disbanded by the bad people. What are they called? Totally spaced it. You're asking too many questions.
It's because I have no clue. You're educating me, Min Min.
Well, the bad guys, I can't remember who they are.
It's okay. You could make stuff up, and I would totally think it was.
You might have listeners that know who.
Right.
I know that she's
that.
not an expert on. So anyway, they're fighting the bad guys, and the bad guys have pretty much had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and disbanded them, and they're still trying to get everybody back together and figure out what's going on. And it's surrounding aliens. I'm pretty sure at this point.
Wow.
It's kind of weird.
And that's the Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's on ABC. Mm-hmm. And then Doctor Who is on BBC America, which Steve loves that channel.
It's a great channel.
And then I've heard of this next one, Mythbusters.
Yes.
I want to, know the information they're throwing out there, but I just haven't taken the time to watch.
Oh, they rerun it all the time, and it's got some really good stuff. They also, they tell you don't try this and then they have once in a while they'll throw something out that says do try this.
That's adorable.
Not very many times, but
adorable.
They do.
That's not the right word. That's cool.
I think it's really cool. Especially if you're into guns, like I think Steve is.
Steve, yes.
Yeah, they talk. They do shooting things. They shoot things all the time, and the magic bullet theory for when President Kennedy died. They've done stuff like
Steve
that.
Steve is obsessed with that kind of stuff, conspiracy stuff. Mm-hmm. Steve is all about that aliens under DIA thing.
Mm-hmm. They don't go into a lot of that kind of stuff, but they do in some movies they show people doing weird things with shooting and stuff. There was an Angelina Jolie movie where she's throwing her arm around in slow-mo and hitting her target every time, and so they tried doing stuff like that.
Because Angelina has a good hit.
Yeah. So they tried that, and did that. They also blew up plumbing. They blew up a water heater. They built it to see what would happen.
What happened?
After you take off all the current, there was a myth, which is not really a myth. It's just the technology has changed. But the original water heaters didn't have a lot of safety features.
Right.
And they would blow up. My grandfather was a plumber, and they would blow up. So they were taking the myth of them blowing up and blowing down a house, and they tried it themselves.
Don't be scared of the mic. It loves you.
I was hitting it. I was talking with my hands. So they did that. They built a little house and put a water heater in there and blew it up. They've also done kitchen myths.
Did it destroy the house?
Yeah. It's hilarious.
You know what? Okay. We're going to get to who you are and where you're from in a minute, but you're from Oklahoma, Tornado Alley.
Tornado Alley.
I am from Southwest Missouri, which is just on that boot hill of Tornado Alley.
No, it's part of Tornado Alley. We consider it.
We didn't have a basement. Every time a tornado sirens would start going off, we'd go into the hallway, which was the middle part of the house. And where we would sit was right by the water heater. I know! You should see Mindy's face. I knew. At a certain age, I started going, this isn't right. But it was either by that or further down the hall, you were actually by the actual heater. Mm-hmm. So either way, we would have died.
Yeah, yeah. Technically, should have been in the most interior.
That was
room.
The interior.
Most interior room, like with a bathroom.
And sadly, we only had one bathroom growing up, and it was an exterior.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the only place we could go to be safe, and I'm just so glad a tornado never hit, because it was probably about age 13. I was like, wait a second, this is stupid.
Well, if they had at least some pliers there to turn off the gas, because it was probably a gas water heater.
Yes, our whole house, like our
better.
stove was gas, everything was gas.
Yeah, they should have been at least turning off the gas for that. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Survival of the fittest. I made it.
You lived through it.
All right. So we'll get to who you are and where you're from in a minute, but
No worries.
I had to throw that in there. One thing that I really like to do is Woman Crush of the Week. And just to explain this, if you haven't listened, I know you have, but maybe someone's listening that doesn't really know what Woman Crush of the Week is. A lot of times, women are catty to each other.
No, I can't imagine.
And I want to stop and celebrate women every week when we do this podcast. 99% of the time. There might be a podcast or something where we get carried away with the wine and forget to do the important stuff. But I want to celebrate women every week. And so I always bring a woman crush of the week. And it's nothing like sexual. And I ask my guests to bring one as well. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And I'm very happy to say that you did your homework.
I just saw this person on TV and I was like going, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love this person.
So you share your woman crush of the week first.
My woman crush of the week is Carol Burnett. Yes, I'm really old here, but
No, I know who she is. I love her. She is hilarious.
She's 81.
I can't believe she's that age.
Well, that's what they say.
On Wikipedia?
Well, Wikipedia and someplace else I looked. But she's been performing since around 1955. The Carol Burnett show aired on September 11th in 1967, which will now be my one of the favorite days.
Well, that's good. Turn
event.
September 11th around.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I was probably didn't get to see it the first time around because it was on a Saturday night, and I was not very old. I was like maybe 4 or 5 months old.
Oh, okay.
6 months old.
Okay, I was like, I'm not going to ask.
So
you're entrapping me.
I'm entrapping you. So I was probably already in bed at the time that it aired because when I was watching her on this talk show, she was talking about that it was always a Saturday night and it was a family night. They had a lot of family shows those nights. So that's what I'm trying to remember. I didn't look up to see what day that really was. But she's actually starring on Broadway again.
At 81.
At 81. Opposite of Brian Dennehy. I remember him from Cocoon. He was one of the main aliens from Cocoon. You're looking at me like I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's what I love about my podcast and having different co-hosts. I learn so much about things I know nothing about.
Well, when I was looking at all the movies, he always plays a bit part actor, but that was one of his main things. And then the other shows that he's been in, movies and TV shows that he's been in, not something I watch. So, but
what would be awesome is if she was starring opposite Alan Alda. I know who he is.
Right.
MASH.
MASH, exactly. And they actually were in a movie called Four Seasons.
Oh, okay.
That
Steve would rock with you right now. He is a movie fanatic. Me, I'm like, have I seen that one? Is it Sweet Home Alabama? Was Reese Witherspoon in it? Other than that, I'm kind of like, huh.
If it's between 1995, and probably a couple of years ago, I won't remember much.
You were a mama.
I was a mama. My brain is completely lost. So, but
Mama
yeah,
brain.
he's actually, after she gets done with her Broadway part of the show, it's going into Alan Alda and Candice Bergman are going to be performing.
And that's Murphy Brown, right?
Exactly. See how you are? You know things.
I do. I love her. Okay, my woman crush of the week is Veronica Roth. She is an author, and I picked her because you're a huge reader. Mm-hmm. You like to read. Actually, you love to read. You and Carrie McLeod could probably talk for hours about books. Me? So she's an author, best known for writing the world-famous Divergent trilogy at the age of 22. Okay, have you read the Divergent trilogy?
I haven't read it, but I've watched the movie.
Yeah, I haven't done either. It's on my list now to do, because I've heard about this Divergent thing. I need to check it out. But the fact that she wrote them at the age of 22, what was I doing at 22? That's my mommy brain on that, because I'm pretty sure I was drinking and studying too much. There was no time for retaining anything. Mm-hmm. Makes no sense. Best quote that I found from her, I want people to come away from my book with questions. Questions about virtue and goodness, not answers.
That's a great one.
I could see you loving that. Did you love the movies?
I did. I've only seen one because
Is there